In an earlier video, we looked at how to identify errors that were shown in the output window, but sometimes there can be problems with our code that don't create any errors at all. For these types of problems, we often have to do a little bit more work to track them down. A common technique is to use print statements to locate where something is going wrong. Here I have code from an earlier video where we made a street light. Now syntactically, this code is all correct. If we run our game, there won't be any errors in the output. But for some reason, it's still not working. During the day in my game, this light doesn't turn off. So let's do some investigation to see what could be going on. Now first, it'll just be useful to see if the code is running at all. Inside the loop, I'm going to include a print statement and just print out the time of day. In this case, I'm going to use the lighting property time of day instead of get minutes after midnight, since it's a little bit easier to read when it prints out. If we run the game, we can see that our loop is running fine, so we know that's not the problem. So now I'm curious about these if statements, particularly the one that's supposed to turn the light off, because the light doesn't seem to be turning off. So inside of this if statement, I'm going to write print light off, just to see if the code is getting inside of there. If we run our game, we can see that yes, it is indeed getting inside of that if statement. And it looks like we did the material and point light settings correctly, so something else must be going on. Let's take a look at this other if statement, the one that's supposed to turn the light on again. I'm going to put a print statement inside of it. And when we run the game, I don't expect this to fire because this code is only supposed to happen at the end of the day. But we can see that when we run it, first we see a light turn off, but then on again. So something must be wrong with this if statement. And would you look at that? So I'm looking at this and it's using less than instead of greater than. That means that instead of turning the light on after 6 p.m., it's going to turn it on before 6 p.m. Well, so all we need to do is flip this sign around and that'll fix the behavior of our game. And if we run the game again, you can see that it runs correctly and prints what we expect. So now this was a simple example, but this kind of approach can be valuable to find problems with your code. If a piece of code isn't working as you expect, put a few print statements in like we did here. Sometimes you'll want to print out a value, like we did with the time of day. Other times you'll just want to print out a message, like we did inside the if statements. Now one last thing, once you've fixed your code, you want to be sure to remove those print statements. You want to keep the output window as clean as you can, so you can notice any other problems or errors.